A major shift is unfolding in global dynamics, and it is happening right now in the Strait of Hormuz. The recent collapse of US Iran peace talks in Islamabad is not just a diplomatic setback, it is um a signal that the conflict has moved from negotiation to controlled confrontation. Welcome to the World Workstation, where we break down the global events not as a headlines but as a system of power, strategy, and intent. Let's begin the video. Let's begin with the failure of the talks. What just happened with the US and Iran, and including Pakistan. On the paper, the reasons are clear: poor timing, both sides entered in negotiations from the positions of strength, and neither was willing to concede. Okay, then comes to the deeper issue, a trust, or rather the complete absence of it. The decades of sanctions, proxy conflicts, and political hostility have created a foundation where dialogue exists but belief does not. But here's the real insight: these talks were never meant to produce an immediate agreement, they were meant to test limits, to measure reactions, to understand how far each side is willing to go. And once these limits were identified, the next phase begins. That will be definitely a Strait of Hormuz. And this is not just a geographic location, it is one of the most critical economic choke points in the world. The massive portions of global oil supply moves through this narrow passage, which means one thing: control over this route is controlled over global economic stability. Now look at the United States. The deployment of multiple warships in this region is not a random thing. It is a calculated signal. On the surface, it is aimed at Iran, but strategically, it is directed at China because China's economy depends on heavily on energy flowing through this route. So when the US asserts a presence here, it is not just determining Iran; it is reinforcing influence over global chains and global supply chains. Now we will shift to Iran. What it means. Um, Iran understands it cannot match the United States' indirect military strength, so it plays a different game: control of disruption, warnings to naval vessels, blockade tactics, influence over shipping movement. This asymmetric strategy. Now, about defeating the opponent, but about increasing the cost of engagement. We'll talk about the leadership strategy as well. Donald Trump's approach is often described as aggressive or unpredictable, but in reality, it follows a clear pattern: maximum pressure, create urgency, force the opponent into the negotiation under stress. This is not a traditional diplomacy. This is a coercive negotiation. Now comes to the important question: why is India being mentioned in this situation? Why did Iran officials specifically highlighted their relationship with India? From a strategic perspective, this is not an accidental. India represents a balance. It has a strong ties with the United States. At the same time, it has a historical energy relationship with Iran. By highlighting India, Iran is sending a multiple messages to India: you are a trusted partner. To the United States, we are not isolated. To the global system, we still have a strategic connections, and this is a positioning, not alliance building for war, but influence building for the negotiation. Let's expand the situation further. Uh, After the collapse of talks, the dynamics shift rapidly. The United States moved towards a stronger control measure in the region. Russia responds by blocking diplomatic actions at the international level. China rejects the sanctions because its energy security is directly connected to Iran. And now the situation transforms. This is no longer just a US and Iran issue. This becomes a multi-layered power alignment. The United States applying pressure, Iran resisting the total disruption. Russia is and China counterbalancing through diplomacy and economics. This is how a modern global conflicts evolve, not into the immediate war, but into the structured power struggles. Now let's address the risk. The Strait of Hormuz becomes the focal point, as we all know that, and the danger is not always intentional action. It is a miscalculation. In my opinion, it is a miscalculation. One wrong move, one misinterpreted signal, and controlled tension can quickly escalate the situations. So now here is the most important conclusion I want to make here. This situation is unlikely to become a full-scale war, and it is unlikely to result in a complete peace agreement. Instead, it will stabilize into a controlled conflict. The United States maintains its strategic pressure. Iran maintains a disruptions capability. China ensures the energy flows. Russia maintains the geopolitical balance, and the Strait of Hormuz remains active but still uh, unstable. This is not a war of victory, I would say. This is a contest of control. Control over energy, control over the trade, control over influence, and in such a system, winning does not mean defeating the opponent. It means maintaining the position without losing control. Uh, now, I want your perspective. Do you think this situation will escalate further or remain controlled power struggle? Since it's been 45 days, the war has begun. So I would like to ask you that share your views in the comments. And if you want to understand the global events at a deeper level, subscribe to the World Workstation, because here we don't just follow the world, we decode it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.